Hello, my name is Patrick Donovan. I am the Director of Technology for Ames Community School District. I'm going to talk to you guys about making learning accessible for all. This link you see on the screen right now, that'll take you some resources I have. That's my Twitter handle at Donovan Science. I'm a former science teacher, so that was my Twitter handle when I was teaching. Still going to be my Twitter handle today. If you ever have any questions about this, please reach out to me. So I'm going to try to do what I normally would say in 50 minutes in a session at a conference for 10 minutes. So I'm going to skip a lot of things. So that link there will take you to a lot of tools and resources and might help you. I'm just not going to get to all of them because I'm trying to be mindful of your time. That's me as an elementary student. See, I had a hearing issue as a kid because my right ear really couldn't hear much out of. My left ear was bad too. But I had to have a hearing aid. And without that piece of technology, I couldn't learn. I couldn't learn as well as I could. I would have been falling behind constantly. I still had to see a speech therapist. I had trouble learning when it wasn't working, or it would make a loud noise, or I'd just be a target for bullying. But honestly, that piece of technology made so I could learn. I want you to think about early elementary. You're listening to your peers, you're listening to teachers, and that was difficult for me. So that technology made it so I could learn well. So thinking about this a little bit, the question that drives me is how do we make it so all students can better learn? I mean, we have technology available to us nowadays that we never had in the past. It can allow us to do so much. It's embedded to everything we have. We have so many schools that are one-to-one where we hand every kid a device. But how are we making it so that all students can better learn? And there's two parts to this. There's one, we have to design learning for all. Are we designing learning for all of our students, or are we designing for the middle? We also then have to use the right tools to support individual needs. And that's part I'm not going to get to as much today. But you go to that website, you'll find a lot of things about that. Now, there's a great TED Talk called Myth of Average. Obviously, I'm not going to show it right now. But where he talks about the fact that U.S. fighter pilots weren't getting the results that we're expecting, because the thing was that the fighter jets were designed for the average pilot. But when you look at a person, you look at all the characteristics of that person, the height, their width, their arm length, the leg length, the torso length, all that stuff, it can vary from two people who are the same exact height. They could have totally different other characteristics. So when they designed the fighter jets for the average pilot, they weren't really designed for anyone at all. And that's kind of how our classrooms are. Our students have so many characteristics that define them as a learner, whether how well they can hear, how well they can see, their cognitive issues, their psychological, social, emotional, socioeconomic. We see the sports at home. These are all characteristics about them as a learner. And if we're designing for the average student, we're designing for no student at all. Now, we're getting a brand new high school. Our new high school is designed to be accessible from the start, but our current high school, which was kind of designed in the 1950s and Frankenstein since then, has had things added to it. It's become more accessible because we added wheelchair ramps. Well, let's talk about those wheelchair ramps for a second. Wheelchair ramps are designed for a specific group of people who are kind of on the edges, right? People in wheelchairs. But those wheelchair ramps help more people than just them. Help people who maybe a mother pushing a stroller up, somebody with a back issue, somebody delivering packages, somebody who just, wants to take the time to go up the ramp because it's much easier for them to get into the building. So when this was designed for people on the edge, it actually helps everybody. It can help everybody. Now, let's design a Rubik's Cube for a second to be more accessible. If I have a vision issue and I want to go into a Rubik's Cube speed competition, I'm not going to be able to unless I use something like this. See, this is a tactile Rubik's Cube. And each color has a different shape on it, different texture. So green has a circle, orange has an X, yellow has these 9 dots on it. And so even if I can't see it, I can quickly feel what color it is. And then I can solve the Rubik's Cube. I can't really solve them well. I have an iOS app that allows me to solve this. But that Rubik's Cube is more universally designed than most of the instruction that takes place in a typical classroom. Now, if we're going to design learning to be more accessible, we were probably going to look at something like Universal Design of Learning, UDL. UDL looks at typically 3 big components. The first is engagement. How are we engaging our learners? See, my wife is very engaged by a lecture, whereas I'm not so much. And our students are engaged in learning in different ways. And, we can have a teacher who's great at direct instruction. They're great at sharing a story or talking to the students. But the problem is that not every kid in that classroom learns well that way. And so it doesn't matter how good the teacher is at that one ability, it doesn't help every student. So how are we engaging students different? I'm giving them a chance to work on a project, or are you having a chance to research something? Are they doing something maybe like a paper or a lecture combination there? Are we engaging students in different ways, giving them options? And then with information, are we representing information in different ways? The textbook is still king in many classrooms, but it's very limited in what it can do. Why can't I use a digital text like CK12, which has a lot of free digital text for math and science? Why not let them watch a YouTube video of somebody explaining this in animation or something like that? Why not give them a simulation like a PhET simulation, which is science simulations in math too, where I can manipulate things, see cause and effect, or even listen to a podcast of somebody explaining this. See, if I just need information, there are a lot of different ways I can get that information and have it represented to me. And so I don't have to give kids unlimited resources. But if I give them different options to do this, they'd better be able to learn. And then how are they showing me what they've learned? The action and expression component to this. You can still have people write out things. You can do a paper pencil test, but what if a kid, I just want them to explain something to me real quick using Flipgrid? What if I want them to create a video or animation using iMovie, WeVideo? Why not create a collaborative podcast using Soundtrap? Why not even just draw something out, but take a picture and share it out? These are all different ways a student can show me what they've learned. And you will find it that if you give students options on how they show you their learning, you're going to better be able to understand whether or not they learned. And it's not unlimited options. You got to give them some, though. It can't just be one way. It can't just be a test and a quiz constantly again and again and again and expecting somehow to improve at that. And now I get to talk about paper versus digital, because I'm not a huge fan of paper because I believe paper is limited. If I have a vision issue, a language issue, dyslexia, that paper is very, very difficult for me to use. Now, I'm working on my second master's transformative school leadership. And one of my favorite tools to use is my iPad nowadays, because I use apps like Notability, and I have my digital pencil here, my Apple Pencil, and I'm better able to take notes than ever before. And these notes are actually more helpful to me than any notes I've taken in the past. And the thing about that is I can take a note on here, it's accessible on my computer, it's accessible on my phone. And the ability to have all that, to take a picture of something, to pull something in from a website, to annotate it, is giving me so many more options in how I can work with my learning, that if I had this tool when I was in college, I really think I could have even done a better job than I did. So digital gives us more options. And then we still have people who say they prefer paper, but you got to think about why that is. Is it just because they're comfortable with it? Is it bring nostalgia? I've had people literally tell me that they love books because of the smell of books. But the problem is that if I have a learning issue, that means that I'm not the average student, your average student. Paper is not going to help you as much as digital could. But I still have to teach kids how to use the digital. Don't ever forget that. You have to teach kids how to use the digital. Whereas I can learn a lot, our students are still, they need that help. So you need the right tools to reach your destination. I don't have enough time to go into all this because I was told 10 minutes, and first time I did this video was 15. So we're going to cut it down a little bit. But I did RAGBRAI for the first time a few years back, and I was amazed, not just at how many people were there, but the variety of people. And when you get past going uphill by a guy who is at least 30, 40 years older than you, and you look at how the tool he's using, the bike and everything, is helpful to him. And I looked at the tool I was using, how could it be better useful for me? And that's the thing, is that everybody had a tool that best fit them. If everybody in RAGBRAI had to use the same exact model of bike, or were really constrained like in a bike race, not a lot of people would enjoy it because it wouldn't be effective for them. So are we giving our students the right tools so they can be successful? I'll give you a quick example of one. So this is an anime GIF of something, but in Google Slides here, if I want, I can take my cursor, put it down here, and I click on closed captioning. And what's going to do is start on the screen writing out everything that I'm saying. And this is a very simple thing. I could be a teacher who does a lot of great direct instruction in the classroom. If I wanted to, I could just put a blank Google slide up there, hit that button. Look, see, it's writing everything. And I can have all those words appear on the screen. You know, pop in some AirPods or a Bluetooth headphone, and you'll have a better microphone for that. I have a really good microphone here, so it's doing a really great job of that. And it's not perfect. It's not going to be 100% perfect. There will be mistakes, especially if I try to say avocado. It might not know I'm saying avocado. See? I didn't say that right. But that is something you can easily do. And there's speech-to-text tools. There's text-to-speech tools. There's tools for colorblind students, dyslexic students, English language learners. There are all these tools out there. We have them available. Give them to kids. And The important part here is that there does have to happen a shift in our mindsets, because we have still some people who say that these tools are crutches or cheats, that if I give a student a text-to-speech tool, that they're not really learning how to read. Well, if I have a kid who's still trying to learn how to read, but they're expected to read to learn in other classes, like say science, social studies, and all that, if I don't give them these tools, I can't expect them to get better. And they're going to fall farther and farther behind. And it's really going to be about, how do we help every student become the best they can? Are we giving them the best tools? Are we giving them the best options? Because I'm going to tell you the truth, that if they just try to level the playing field for me as a student, I would have not gotten that degree in physics, working on my second master's and all that. I probably wouldn't have done that well. But having the technology allowed me to do the best that I could really is what was best for me. So are we doing this for our students? Are we designing the best learning for them? Are we then giving them the tools they need to overcome any obstacles they have? Give students options. Give them the tools. Start thinking digital first and find the best way to give that information to your students. These are all things that we can be doing better to make learning more accessible for all. If you have any questions for me, please reach out to me, email, Twitter. Dr. Crawford definitely knows how to get a hold of me. I hope this was useful. There's a lot you can learn about UDL. Do a Google search on it. Go on YouTube. Check out hashtags. There's a lot of great information out there, and I think that more people need to understand this, because if we only teach one way, we can't expect every student to learn.